Ohio is not in the Midwest. Ohio is east. You cannot be
I
that
mean,
far of the Mississippi River. You cannot be touching Pennsylvania and call yourself Midwest.
why would you say that Ohio is
No,
Midwest?
everyone does. I gotta look it
If
up. Ohio is called the Midwest because of the location of those states in the 1800s before the U.S. expanded to the Pacific coast. So at one point, Ohio was the middle of the country before the Louisiana Purchase. To all
glad
of
we
our Ohio listeners, one, get out. I don't know why you're still there.
get out,
Get out.
run. I have
Two,
family there. Get out.
stop calling yourself the Midwest for the love of God. Thank you.
You can't be Midwest and have an Eastern time zone.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back for another episode of the Ride the Pine podcast. We have a two-man crew today. I am Sean Sproat. That is Adam Freeman. No Cameron May, no Kenny Hudden this week. Adam, I want to run something by you because I think it's a little suspicious that they're out. I think you would.
I think it is too.
Cameron is our social media coordinator, right? He does all of our social media posts. So one would say that he interprets things for the internet for us. Meanwhile, Kenny's in Las Vegas, and he took a picture and sent it to our group of him doing a parlay sports bet. Now,
Which, hold on. By the way, Kenny, sorry, it failed miserably.
did it really? I didn't check. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
I think he missed like 4.
Oh, good God. All I'm saying is the timing is a little suspect considering what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, I mean, I bet that there is something up in this situation, that they just quite didn't get on the same page, if you will.
Are you trying to
And
say something may
interpret.
have been lost in translation?
Definitely lost in translation. I can see that. What are you getting at here? I don't understand this.
Well, we're going to get to our topics in a second, but first I need to do the job of our social media coordinator, Cameron,
All
and
right.
shout out our socials. So just make sure you guys follow us and on Twitter at PodRideThePine and on Instagram at pod_RideThePine. Why we have two different ones for those two sites, I still haven't figured out why. We are also technically on TikTok using Kenny's at RTP-Kenny. So stay tuned because that might be changing soon. And then, of course, if you're watching on YouTube, we are on YouTube. You can also find us on Apple and Spotify as well. So, back to our topic at hand. I think we need to dive into the Shohei Ohtani revelations regarding his interpreter and the possible illegal betting / theft that is happening.
I mean, it only makes sense that we record last Tuesday and Wednesday it all comes out that this is all going down. For those of you that live under a rock and don't pay any attention to baseball whatsoever, Shohei Ohtani, quite possibly the biggest name internationally in baseball. We're talking, I would say, Messi level, Ronaldo level, for sure. Accused at first his interpreter of taking money from him and using it to pay off gambling debts. I'll read the quick timeline of where we're at as of right now. So it came out originally that Ohtani was under federal investigation in this kind of like gambling ring, and apparently now Jonte Porter, MIZ, is in the kind of the same thing. But it comes out that he is at least being investigated. Like, what's going on? Ohtani, his team comes out and says that Shohei transferred a large sum of money multiple times to his interpreter. I believe his name is Ippei Mizuhara. I butchered that, I'm sure, but that's what I'm going with. And he transferred that to pay his gambling debts. That's not something you want to admit to. So then Ohtani sends Ippei, or his team sends Ippei to ESPN, and Ippei then states, nah, he never did that. He doesn't gamble. And Shohei felt bad for him and just paid off all of his debts. Or no, I'm sorry. Ohtani never gambled,
Right.
and Ohtani felt bad and paid off Ippei's debts. If you're confused as me, all right, you're on a page then. So then Ohtani's team comes out and says that Ippei is lying, and there has been a massive theft, which now there is no gambling debts that are being paid off, and Ippei has been taking money from him. Then Ohtani and Ippei, they are in the Seoul series. There was a really nice video the day after all this came out of the two of them in the Dodgers dugout joking with each other. I'm pretty sure that if you guys took money from me, I would not be joking with you on a podcast, let alone in the dugout for the Dodgers.
Absolutely not.
Not even a little bit.
No.
So then Ippei then comes out and tells ESPN that Ohtani had no knowledge of his gambling debts and that he never bet on baseball. And we all know where that's come from. I mean, you haven't bet on baseball, Pete Rose, ever? Never? So then Ippei addresses the entire team in the clubhouse. Story comes out that it is all his fault. Ohtani had nothing to do with it. And remember that they, again, were still laughing in the dugout that day. I know the time change is different, but I don't think it affects that. The information coming out on social media. Ippei gets fired from the Dodgers. Absolute chaos comes out. And then Ohtani releases a statement, which originally it was supposed to be meeting with the media and getting questions answered. And they nixed that when they realized what was going to happen. But he releases a statement saying that it's massive theft. So either he is the dumbest person on earth, which also I would like to throw out. When did Ohtani get married? Like, this just came out of nowhere.
He's a really private guy. And so
he has to be.
When he did the announcement saying he got married, he didn't even say his wife's name.
No, not even a little bit.
Yeah, so this is really interesting to me. It's one of two things could potentially be happening. It's either Shohei Ohtani is allowing his interpreter to basically fall on the sword for him, and he's kind of behind everything, or he really is like the victim here, and Ippei has basically been lying to him for years. The timing is interesting because that conversation where the two of them were like laughing in the dugout, apparently Shohei claims that he did not have any knowledge of any of the thefts or anything whatsoever at the time of that happening. Do you believe that? That seems a little naive to me.
Not even a little bit. Like, come on. I get that things can be lost in translation, but when you're spending, I mean, literally, these two spent 24 hours a day with each other, basically living together all the time, on the road, during the off season, during the season. Like, they were shoulder to shoulder. There is no way that I got nothing. Yeah, there's no way. And I don't know if you were on this text, but did you hear the crazy how the numbers line up with the games that were apparently bet on?
Oh no, I did not hear that.
So let's credit Timmy_smokes on Twitter. Who knows? But the internet sleuths, they figured it out real quick. We're going to read through a few tweets here that are interesting.
Okay.
So games that Ohtani could have thrown the game, July 22nd, 2022. A bet $1 million, whether that's yen or dollars, I have no idea, or whatever it is in overseas, whatever. What is it? Is it Japan that he made the bets? Or is it China?
I believe it was Japan, yes, and it would be a large sum in yen.
Yes. So the bet was placed for the Braves to score over 6.5 runs against the Angels, who Ohtani played for. And it was parlayed with the Braves being -3.5. It was placed in Ohtani's hometown, and guess who the pitcher was that day?
I'm going to go ahead and assume Shohei Ohtani.
Shohei Ohtani, yes.
Now real quick, before you go on to the next one, though, I think I did see that, and just to clarify, he had 6 innings of scoreless pitching before he gave up.
No, so in this one, well, okay, yes, he did get up 6 runs, 6 hits. The best part is at the plate he was 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts.
Yes. Yeah, and they were pretty. I think I did see this. They were not the prettiest looking strikeouts. Not that strikeouts are pretty. No, they were. There's ugly. A difference.
Yeah, there was another one on July 4th in 2023. Again, Shohei against the Padres. He pitched 5 innings, 5 earned runs, and again went 0 for 3 at the plate. 10 days later, another bet was booked for a parlay. Astros -1.5, over 6.5. Ohtani allowed 4.5 runs and gave up, or no, Ohtani, the parlay was 4.5 runs allowed, 6.5 Ks under. Total line was 11.5. Shohei's line was 6 innings pitched, 9 hits, 5 earned runs and allowing 2 home runs. He went 2 for 5 at the plate, and that parlay did hit as well. So, it's incredible. It really is.
So there's 2 investigations now, right? I think MLB is launching their investigation, and there's a criminal investigation into Ippei. That this is like the worst case scenario for Major League Baseball. You have your largest star, arguably in what, 2 decades, maybe even a little longer than that, signs this massive deal.
Easily.
Yeah, with massive deal with your biggest team on the West Coast. All this information comes out that he deferred the funds, and now you have to wonder, why did he do that? That's a big part of it too. And so it's basically Pete Rose all over again, just more high profile, because now this is in the internet age.
Well, and I think what's crazy about it is sports gambling is illegal in California, but he made the wire transfers from California, so even that can be investigated as well.
And it will be. All that's going to get looked at.
Yeah.
I don't want to speculate, but I'm very worried that he's not going to come out of this clean, even though I was just reading stories today on like Slate and Yahoo, and they were basically saying how he is almost in the clear, that he's on the back 9 of the trouble with this. I feel like we're just getting started.
I mean, yeah, there's going to be so much uncovered. I don't know. I know how he can dodge it. See what I did there?
Yeah.
I do, he can dodge it. They can cover it. They can do a lot of stuff to make it go away. But I don't think that it's going to happen. I mean, if something did occur, whether or not it was fully Ohtani or if it was Ippei saying, hey, what if we did something like this, and that comes out, he's going to be in trouble. He almost has to. And you hope to God, well, I don't because I hate the Dodgers, but you hope that the Dodgers have some sort of writing in the contract to be able to void it out. If they don't, they're SOL.
I think there was like a story that broke saying that there was some fine print in his contract that kind of alludes to something along this, but I don't think that the Dodgers saw this coming by any stretch of the imagination. There's no way.
The only thing they could say is that, that with the contract being deferred, they suspected something, but I don't think they come out and say that.
I don't think so, because it wasn't the Dodgers' decision to defer it. He brought that to the table, right?
Yeah, for sure, but they could at least be like, we thought it was suspicious, but, we asked him why he wanted to do it, and he had, all the clean reasons to do it. Yeah. We okayed it.
Best case scenario for baseball is that your biggest star, your face of franchise, face of the league, was kind of taken in by a close friend. Your worst case scenario is that you have a second Pete Rose on your hands, and it's significantly worse than the Pete Rose situation. And then what do? You ban one of the most high profile athletes on the planet. You ban him for life, just like you did Pete Rose. What do you even do if you're MLB in this situation?
Stop suggesting gambling websites.
Yeah, we'll see. If the check keeps clear, and I don't think that's going to happen.
I think the best thing was somebody posted that ESPN is sponsored by ESPN Bets and part of FanDuel and all of that. So went through the list of all the connections that are there, and then there was in the background an Ohtani picture. I'm like, oh, you can't make that up.
No, you can't. All right, it's gonna be really interesting to see where it goes from here. We're gonna keep an eye on it. I don't have much else to say about it. It's until more information comes out, it's just speculative at this point. And I'm more curious in the criminal investigation than I am the MLB's investigation, because MLB will just say whatever the hell they need to say to make it all go away. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right, what else we got on the docket?
All right, so the big stuff going on right now, really the biggest thing in sports is obviously March Madness. Personally, I think it's one of the best couple weeks stretches, other than you've got playoff hockey, baseball starting, basketball, or maybe even like hockey season starting with football, college football ending, like all that stuff kind of run together. But March Madness, probably one of the best things around. Any surprises to you or anything that you're like, man, that was kind of taking me by storm?
Early rounds, yeah, I think we need to talk about Kentucky and Oakland. That the fact that a team of potential future NBA stars got beat by a future franchisee of a used car lot. I thought that was incredibly impressive and the reason why we love this tournament. But looking at the bracket right now, it's kind of chalk. I mean, the only exception really is NC State, the 11 seed moving on to the Sweet 16. The rest of it are all top seeds. All number 1 seeds are still in. I think all number 2 seeds. Like, this is like exactly what you do not want to see at the tournament. We kind of watched this for the underdogs, right? And they were all knocked out in the second round.
Yeah, I mean, NC State is definitely the feel-good story. What they won 5 straight games in the ACC championship, and then obviously winning against Texas Tech. That was a big one, and by 13. I mean, that's a pretty good number. And then they did come out, and they only had Oakland. They didn't have to play against Kentucky. I'll get to that part in a second. I have a lot of feelings on that one.
Okay.
But, I mean, yeah, I would say that probably is the biggest story. It is interesting that we are pretty chalk. The number ones to me seem a little suspect, other than probably North Carolina, as much as I hate to say it. I think Purdue is definitely beatable. Yeah, I think Houston's beatable. I really do. I think that Houston loses to Duke, and that is my heart saying it more than anything.
What about UConn? I mean, they beat Stetson by 40. They beat Northwestern
UConn,
by almost 20.
Yeah, you could throw UConn in there too. The only thing that I would worry about is that they have a tough bracket, believe it or not. I mean, you have San Diego State, and then you still have Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a tough one to get out of. North Carolina right now, they have Alabama is going to be their hardest game. Arizona, I don't think stands a chance against North Carolina, although that'll be a very good game to see Caleb Love playing against North Carolina again.
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb real quick and say, even though I just kind of hyped them up a little bit, give me San Diego State over UConn. They're going to be the first number 1 seed to be knocked out.
I would hope not, because I have UConn in our bracket. We'll get to that here a little bit too.
We need to give an update on our bracket challenge. I don't know if you have those numbers in front of you, because I don't, but hopefully that you do. But looking at the rest of it, I like the Illinois-Iowa State matchup. That's really interesting to me. Clemson-Arizona could be a lot of fun. Do you have like one that you're riding with? So is North Carolina like the one that you're taking to pretty much go all the way?
I think they have the best chance to get to the championship game. Let's just say that. And again, I hate saying it. I despise North Carolina. But I do think they have the best chance at getting there. I think that they're probably the cleanest route, easiest route. UConn's probably right behind them. Honestly, I think Houston and Purdue, as much as I hate it, because, again, it kills my bracket, Houston and Purdue are probably the first 2 to lose, and I wouldn't be shocked if they lose just on I guess one plays Thursday, the other plays Friday.
Yeah, and Purdue has Gonzaga historically.
Which is going to be tough.
Yeah, that's a tough one. And then, obviously, Houston has Duke, so...
Yeah, and Gonzaga has the best offense left in the NCAA tournament.
Okay. How about an update on our Ride the Pine bracket? How is everybody doing?
Well, let's start from the bottom. Real quick update, Sean. You have 13 points.
Really? I didn't even finish completing my bracket at all, so I didn't even realize it counted what I completed.
Yep.
So, which, by the way, that means, I believe, quote me if I'm wrong here, I think I have so far the entire UConn side of the bracket correct, because that's all I picked.
You don't have it entirely correct.
Dang. Thought I did.
You have 1, 2 teams in the out of the 4.
Well,
you started out so well. You had, you did have 15, or no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you had 7 of the 8
Mm-hmm.
in the first round of that bracket, so I'll give it to you. That's a good start.
I started actually, picking during work, and work just got too crazy and I wasn't able to complete it. But what I was doing is that I was looking up the most famous alumni from each school and then deciding, putting them head to head,
Who would win in a
deciding
fight?
who would win in a cage match. And and honestly, based on that, I feel like if I would have kept going, I don't know. This might be the formula for next season.
So next year, I think we do a Ride the Pine bracket, and we argue over who would win in a fight from each one of those. Just off of that.
We'll just remove the school names and just put the alumni name in there, and then we'll just do it from there. I think that's the way to go.
I like it.
Yeah.
So anyways, back to the standings. Let's see. I deleted that screen. Let's go back. Kenny's brother is currently winning. He has 51 points. He can max out at 175, which is the most potentially possible. M.A. Bright, no idea who that is. I think they know Cameron. They have 48 points. They can max at 168. AJ Fox at 47. Kenny is at 47, but he can only max out at 103. So currently he is winning between all of us. Our friend Tony's got 46. He can get 162. Kenny's friend Alan has 45. He's got 161. I've got 43 with 163 possible, and then Cameron is just above Sean in 8th place with 42 points. He can max out at 106. So right now, it looks like if everything stays the way that it is, I would win our bracket pretty handily, but I would probably finish like 3rd or 4th overall. So it's not bad.
And overall, who won it last year? Is Tony our defending champion?
I think it was Tony.
That feels right. Yeah, I think, by the way, it's a year later. Tony, we still need to get you your sticker, my guy.
They're in the mail, aren't they?
Yeah, they're in the mail. Yeah.
That's stupid post office.
So it'll be really interesting to see how it checks out. I think this could be another year where we have all ones in the Final Four. That wouldn't surprise me if that happens.
I mean, I'd be really shocked. There's no way.
Yeah, I could see that happening. If that's the case, let's go Purdue. I just want to see somebody new win it, but yeah, we'll see. Anything else on our docket before we get out of here?
I do want to say, I'm trying to pull up the what I had open a minute ago. So I think I talked about this a while back. At least I know I talked about it in our group chat, and I got a bunch of shit for it. Coach Calipari is the most overrated person in basketball. I would just like everybody to know that. If you didn't already know that, he has always had the best recruiting. I don't want to say always, because he didn't when he was at UMass or wherever he was before. But when he went from UMass to Memphis, his UMass team went to the Final Four. It was the first time, actually, I think that they got that far. I think they were eliminated in the first round the year before that. They went to the Final Four. They lost. And in the Final Four, they lost. And then he went to Memphis. And from Memphis on, 2020 was when he went to Memphis, to today. His recruiting classes average top 10. And since he's been in Kentucky, they average top 5. And he has one national title. In 24 years, one national title. He has 5 Final Four appearances, and he's made it to the championship game twice. So in the Final Four, he is 2-3. And then he's 1-2 in the championship game. The past 4 years, I think is what it was. He's 1-5, something like that. I forget what the stupid number is, but he has top level talent every single year, and just cannot seem to win. Whereas he's praised as this god in Kentucky. He does not hold a flame to Coach K. He honestly, what's his name? Mark Few in Gonzaga, I would say is right there. Roy Williams, obviously, and as much as I hate it, Bill motherfucking Self, I can't stand that guy. My God, I mean, for a guy that is getting paid so much money to coach in Kentucky, he's not worth it. And his buyout is insane. It's $32 million to get him to buy out the last, I think, 4 years of his deal. They've got to figure something out, or he has to change his mentality completely.
he is only the fourth coach in the SEC to win 400 games at one school. The second in University of Kentucky history as well.
Yeah, but that's not. I mean, 20 games a year that you can win. Mm-hmm. When you're looking at what I think every team plays 10 non-conference games. I mean, really, it is impressive. I mean, he wins regular season games, and he's got a decent amount of SEC championships.
Yeah,
but that isn't. And there's a lot of randomness that goes on in the NCAA tournament. Don't get me wrong. I mean, hell, locally we all understand with Mizzou losing a few years ago. Well, I guess more than a few at this point as a number 2 seed.
True.
You know, it happens, totally does, but it's one thing to lose every now and then, in my opinion, and versus losing every year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. He's a good regular season coach, not a good tournament coach. I think the record reflects that. I think you're correct. You know what? That's a hot take I can get behind. I'm not going to give you any slack.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I appreciate it.
Overpaid, but all the coaches are, really, for the most part.
Most coaches are the highest paid state official, which blows my mind.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. I know Kenny's probably going to have something to say about it just because Kenny just loves to argue with you for any reason on this podcast. Well, I'm curious. We'll see. He might. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any sport hot takes for you today besides go San Diego State.
I support it.
Thanks. All right, man. Let's get out of here. Good short episode today. Shohei Ohtani's in trouble. San Diego State is winning the NCAA title. And that's it. We'll call it. Everybody have a good night. We'll see you next week, hopefully with a full crew. And enjoy your evening. Bye.